Economic uncertainty. Okay, so if we are talking about political situations or change in government, it will always, like, everybody at a job position, they will look at it at, oh, it's a risky market. We might lose our budget or lose our positions, cutting cost. Uh, I would look at it in a different way. Always when we have economic and political uncertainty, it relocates budgets. So every department who have like maybe 200, $300,000 as a budget, they do relocate that to other department and other projects. So the budget is not going out from the government department, but being relocated. Every time we have cut in some positions, we have a creation for new positions. Definitely job seekers need to be more dynamic and provide them.
So we'll get to Malika, but I want to again maybe stop sharing and cover one important thing that you just discussed, Samer, that someone is trying to
Yeah,
game the system. Yeah,
can I ask a question?
yeah. Hi, Malika.
Okay.
Just give me a second here.
Hi,
I'll just
morning.
yeah.
Okay,
Give
morning
give
everyone. This is Malika, and basically, I have already
Malika,
worked as a
Malika,
data analyst.
Malika. Hi,
Yes, sir.
can you just give me a second? I just want to touch on one point that
Sure,
Samer
sir. Sure,
shared,
sure,
and
sure.
then you can cover your question, please. So yeah, no, again, Samer, pointed out about, people gaming the system and trying to, find ways to, again, answer the interview questions using AI, which is, again, some of the people think this is smart doing, but again, it's not really ethical, in a way to game the system and try to, hack or, do unfair competition to others. And again, definitely this will be shown somehow, through your answers. If you're not really, saying those answers with a vibe or with energy and with wisdom, and it doesn't come authentic, then it will definitely show. I definitely think, trying to game the system is not the best way here, and I highly, highly recommend that you guys practice interviewing questions and answers and be ready for the interview without, trying to use AI during the interview. Again, you can use AI before the interview to prepare yourself. You can, let AI or ChatGPT um, uh, help you with, the most important questions, and whatever answer that you can prepare for. But during the interview, you should not use AI and ChatGPT. So I'll pause here, see again if Mahmoud have, any follow-up on this before we jump into Malika. I know Malika is waiting, for her question.
No, my brain just froze at how when Samuel was saying we caught him, and I was like, "How did you catch him?" I'm very curious about the details. Were they distracted? Were their eyes showing that they're reading from something? Was the AI adopting their voice tone? They trained it on their voice, and it's answering for them, and they're just dubbing, and they're moving their their mouth with the answer. Which one is it?
So yeah, actually the employee himself has told another person who reported him to the management. So that's
Ooh.
maybe something we need to make sure that our colleagues at work, even if they are very friendly, they are not friends. But they're doing friendly. But competition is in the market, and everyone is trying to eliminate others. And when they report it, everything is being taken very seriously. Investigation is happening, and it was figured out. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Malika, let's go. And after Malika, I just want to assure Muhammad because he asked a question on the chat, not a question. He shared something on the chat about the jobs and the application. So let's Ahmed take him after Malika.
Sure. Malika,
Okay, I have the couple of the questions. One is that I'm also applying for the different jobs for the data analyst, which is my field. So, And sometime we also, as regarding that we should not use the AI using the interview time, we use the in AI tools like Outlier or like other tools mostly to give the answers to the questions. What do you say about that? And if we create our resume, so what do you say that we use? It is recommended by my university that I'm the UTD student, University of Texas at Dallas. So they consider us from our career, from the career center. They say that all the time whenever we have to submit the resume, it should be different. I mean, for all the jobs, we should not send one resume to all the jobs. What do you suggest about that?
You mean tailoring? You mean tailoring it to each job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think again I'll give my you know wisdom here and then I'll pass it on to my colleagues. So definitely you need to tailor your resume for every job because this is how you will pass the ATS. If you don't tailor to every job, you will not pass the ATS. Using AI only is not a good idea. You definitely, even if you use ChatGPT, even if you use Outlier or anything else, it's may sound robotic, it may sound like not human, so it will definitely, you know, be caught somehow by the people who will read it on the other side. So unless you try to, add your tone of voice or your tone of how you share your experience in the resume or in the interview, then it will definitely be caught somehow. Again, I even if it's not a tool, whoever is interviewing you on the other side or whoever is reading your resume on the other side definitely now are more experienced than before and they know how to distinguish between a resume or a LinkedIn or an interview that is only done by AI or that has some authentic or really experienced person on the other side. So I'll pause here, see if Mahmoud want to chime in, and then Samer on your question about again using AI tools for resume and interviewing.
Yeah, let me take a holistic answer to this one. Throughout your interview process and on the job, the best way for sustainability of anything is to be as authentic and have integrity along the way. Okay, because if you don't, people are going to sniff that at some point and it will fire back at you. So now keeping that in mind, having integrity and being authentic. So when I ask the ChatGPT to help me with doing something, I am using it like the way exactly. If I give an example, the calculation, you can do it in your head or over and on a piece of paper, and you can do it using the calculator. The calculator does what for you? It speeds up the process for you. So if you use ChatGPT, get the ChatGPT as ideas and thoughts and organization of stuff, but always look after it or look at its shoulder to make sure that it is representing you, and yes, this is what exactly I wanted to say, but this is put in a more organized matter. Sometimes I'm stressed when I'm looking at something, the machine doesn't have emotion, so it'll give you the thing without any stress, so you look at it and say, like, you know what, that's exactly how I wanted to express it, but I didn't have the brains to do it because of the stress. So I'll take this one, massage it a bit, and then I will put it in my resume. The resume matching the job description or speaking to the job description is something I called a demonstration that you have listened to the job description. And listening to the job description is different than reading the job description. You read the job description like you're reading a newspaper, but listening means you're going beyond the reading to trying to figure out what is the employer actually saying in that job description. What are they saying that it's important for them? And you'll find them hammering on certain phrases and certain skills and all this stuff. You'll find it in the preface of the job description, saying we're looking for somebody who will do blah 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 blah, and then that blah 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 will be repeated again in the job activities, and then you will find it repeated again in the qualifications. So if you said it 3-4 times, I get on my side that this is important for you. Otherwise, you'd have mentioned it only once. But and you see us doing that even in our conversation. We want to stress something, we keep talking 2-3 times about it, right? Trying to deliver the message, and we're stressing that because it's important to us. So that's why, if you don't listen to the job description and you listen to the employer and let the resume speak to that, why would they listen to you? Right? They will just hold your resume, look at the job description. It's like, we want X, you're talking about Y. Okay, let's put that resume to the side and let's move to the second person that will talk on our X that we need. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Samer?
Yeah, great point. Thank you, Mahmoud. So look, Malika, we have to know that ChatGPT is a very nice tool to learn through it and also to practice also through it and get some ideas. However, it's a free tool and you are not the only one who know it. Many other peoples also know this because it's available for everybody. It really reminds me when I was using once PowerPoint templates, that the ready templates in PowerPoint. When we browse the templates, there's a very nice template at the beginning, top three. It's like it looked like having blue waves, and it's very nice. So person who didn't prepare a lot of PowerPoint presentations, they will see this template very nice. But when they take it and present it to others, others have seen this before many times. So from your side, or a job seeker, when we use ChatGPT, the answers of the ChatGPT will look very impressive for you and smart since you are seeing it for the first time. I am screening almost 100 resumes every day. The moment I receive a resume written by ChatGPT, I know it because it's repeated. I'm seeing the same phrases, the same sentences, the same words, and it can be catch easily by person who's in HR who's screening a lot of resumes. Second thing, when you use ChatGPT or AI tools, make sure that you read it well after that, change it, make it more real, maybe use it, benefit from that, but again, review it and make it more you. I have seen people who's coming for interviews who are not able to read some sentences in their resume. So some words look weird for them. When I ask for a certain word, like, what do you mean about this word in your resume? And he don't know the meaning of the word even. So definitely he did not try it. And one issue like this will kill the authenticity of the resume. And then, yeah, this is what HR are doing. HR is not trying to verify the skills that you have, but they are trying to find gaps. The method HR is following is by excluding. So every time we look at the resume, we look at one mistake to say screened out. And then at the end, we end up with fewer resumes that have no mistakes or no issue or no red flags. And these are the people who will be admitted to the interviews. Your second point is very important about tailor-made, and I won't be able to add more on what Coach Mo has mentioned. Definitely listen very good to the job post. Job post is actually the Bible of the employee life cycle. So it will justify if the resume is a very good match for the job, and later it will affect the questions of the interview, which is going to be taken from the job post itself. Later, when you join the company, your appraisal and evaluation will be based on the job post itself as well. And the training that you will receive during the life cycle is also based on this job post. So it's a very important to read it very well before going for screening questions or interviews or even tailor-making your resume. I wish you all the best. Definitely a lot of positive and negative trials until you find your right version of resume that will make tailor-making easy for you for different jobs.
And I have good news on what Samer is saying. The more you tailor your resume, it's not that you're going to tailor your resume for 20 jobs. At one point, you will discover after the fifth, sixth resume, you're tailoring from the tailored, right? Not all the way from the base. So, right, because the job descriptions are gonna look similar, and what if you were spending an hour to tailor your resume, a tailor of a tailor would take you only 15 minutes, right? And Ahmed, before we move on to Muhammad, I saw you talked about the camera, okay? Which let me address that as well with our attendees. We have, if you notice, I think only the coaches have the camera on, right? And none of the participants have the cameras on. And I get that you might be a bit, when you come to these calls, you might be intimidated by the fact that we are senior and we have tons of experience, and we're talking about experience. From experience, this experience have got us enough confident to show the camera and be in front of people, right? That's what we do. I want you to consider also that this is a playground for you, a practice for you to put yourself out there. You're going to be, if you don't put the camera on because one of the reasons that intimidation, right? I can tell you that you'll have the same thing with your interviewer. Your boss will be most likely 5 to 10 years senior.
I don't know where to begin, but basically, I've never had much success applying to jobs. Any job that I've received are contracts that have come practically out of nowhere, like from Qadar Allah. I don't know, like it just comes on my lap. But whenever I go out to apply to, I live in the Canada North area, so there's a bunch of tech companies around here that I've applied to. Um, but it's just this the generic we will not be moving forward with your application. And I've been receiving this practically for the last 5 years. It's nothing's changed. And I heard Coach Sammer's bit about resumes, and yeah, I think that's where I'm struggling, because I've been to, even throughout these last 5 6 years, I've been through employment centers. I've been through resume templates online. Even like this year, I kind of caved in and started trying to use ChatGPT as a tool, not not a be all end all. Um, but it's like nothing I'm doing. I feel like there's this massive wall where it's like nothing I'm doing, or none of my experience accounts for anything people are looking, or companies are looking for. And my experience pretty much is PMing in a telco, and then PMing in the government. So it's so niche that I'm trying to I try my best to figure out. Okay, PM is one of those fields where, in an ideal world, you should be able to project manage anything regardless of the industry. It's all the same principles. There's just a bit of technical knowledge that would benefit you if you knew about it, but otherwise, managing a project is the same, whether it's in the oil field, whether it's in the telecommunication field, or whatnot. That's pretty much why I got into PMing. But yeah, like I feel like there's this massive wall that
So
I
Mohammed,
just feel like I want an interview, but I can't get that.
I get it. So Mohammed, just to understand your challenge, you are a telecom background, and you're looking for a project management role, and you're applying, you're again submitting resumes on applications on either private sector or government, and you're not getting
Exactly.
interviews, right? Okay. And
Exactly.
and you have the assumption that PM for a PM is can work for any industry, which again, I'm coming from the same background like you, exactly, and I disagree. It's not like that. Every job, every industry has its own, let's say, knowledge and experience. You're working in the telecom, you cannot work on the oil and gas. It's a totally different field. It's not going to be the same experience. It's again, the concepts of project management. Yes, I agree. The basics of project management is there somehow, but the industry experience is why people are really hiring from the same industry, and that's where maybe the gap is for you. is positioning yourself, how to really, target some jobs. And I've been doing this, in my struggle at the beginning of my, journey here in Canada. I was using my telecom resume to submit and apply for jobs in IT, and it didn't work because telecom is a different field than IT. And if I'm not tailoring it, if I'm not really aligning to the job description and positioning myself to the values that this company is looking for, then I'm not a fit. It's exactly why when you, let's say, propose to your partner, and you don't really research or help her with her challenges, or understand her challenges, and listen to her, then you're not a fit for her. So I think, again, I definitely don't see your resume, I don't see your details. I'm not in a situation to judge, more in more detail what's happening. If
Mm-hmm.
you're open to share your resume, and we can maybe give you a mock here, or maybe we can do this offline, I think that's could help. But again, job search is a journey. It starts with defining the role. If you don't define a clear role that the market really needs, and you understand what this role entails, then unfortunately you will not be able to write a good resume. Does
Mm.
that make sense?
That does make sense. No, that's true. And I think that's where I'm struggling in. It's that's understanding how to position the resume, and then like maybe I have some biases against, based on my experience with ATS, but that's something I have to get over. Anyways, I can't
Yeah.
just keep saying, yeah, it's the ATS that's screwing me over. It's definitely something, on
Yeah.
my end.
No, again, it's a ton of learnings, unfortunately, and sometimes there is resistance to change. I've been there before, and I struggled myself because I was resisting. I thought I can land a job because I had a big experience, worked with Cisco. I've delivered a big program with $180 million worth of budget. In smart city. Nobody did that here in Canada before, and I was very proud of
Mhm.
it. But it didn't really work because telecom in Canada specifically. I'll give you some insights from recruiters. It's always linked to Nortel. And what happened to Nortel? It bankrupted, here in
Mhm.
Canada. So every time you put telecom in your resume, they see you as someone who is going to ask a lot of money with not a big value, and unfortunately, that's how Nortel got bankrupted. So that's definitely something that you can keep on consideration. Again, from what I know about Nortel, and sorry, about telecom, and how to position telecom to the job. So I'll pause here, see if Mahmoud or Samer wants to help you more, and then we'll move to Aziza and then Maya.
Sure. Thank you, Ahmed. Um, Samer, go first.
Okay. I would say to Muhammad, the first thing and when you started your presenting yourself, the first thing you ask, where do I start from? And that means at some stage you feel that your experience is very overwhelming. It's not easy to convey your branding and your skills, qualification, and experience to the audience in a short time. It seems like you needed long time to present yourself. And that is something you need to master and practice, is how to
Mhm.
present yourself in a good elevator pitch, and
Mhm.
then ask for your pain points or your needs. So definitely start by presenting your education, specialty, and experience, and the area
Mhm.
that you are strong in, and then mention the challenges that you are facing. That will help us always to figure out where is the issues that you are facing. Every time we go to a doctor, we need to diagnose our diseases or our illness, and then they will be able to prescribe the right medicine. If we don't hear about the diagnosis, what the pains, what the issues that we are facing, it will be hard also to diagnose something general. The other thing I want you to look at it, and definitely with your knowledge and probably long experience, you have already created a big value for companies, and you see yourself as a project manager, so you can do any of the project management. Then now we have you as a great value, and you have it's already proven. You have already given the company this value, and those companies in the past they have paid you a high salary. Companies here in Canada are also in big demand for talent and skill like yours. So what is missing? They are not able to see you clearly, and
Mm.
companies will not come and search for you. Especially here in Canada, headhunting is not really an active exercise. They don't do it much because it creates a big legal implication on the companies. If one person came to me and say, Samer, I want you to work for us, I would say, okay, I will respond. I will go and move maybe to Toronto and work with them.
Mm.
And they cannot end my contract after 2 or 3 months. They cannot say you didn't pass the probation period because I will say I have left all my career, my job, my family. I changed everything because of your call. So
Mm.
companies are avoiding headhunting. They are always encouraging job application. When you apply for a job, they will also say, let's try you for a couple of months. Let's put you into evaluation, and then we decide if you're continuing with us or not. So this is the general trend of HR. They are not doing headhunting. Then if it's about application, then it's your responsibility to increase your visibility to the companies by increasing your visibility, showing your skills and qualification and value in alignment with their needs and in the best manner among other applicants. That is the way that will make you very special. And moving to a short list and then receiving interviews and then again winning the interview and getting job offers.
Mm.
Your resume will not get you a job. Keep that always in mind.
Mhm.
We cannot write voodoo or black magic and make your resume something that can get you a job tomorrow. It will not. Your resume will only get you a screening call. HR
Mm.
will call you and say, you have applied for this job. Are you still interested? We would like to call you for an interview. How you perform in the interview is what will get you the job offer. So always write your resume in a way that increase your visibility as a best match for the job. Sometimes these things are overwhelming, so we cannot diagnose our disease before going to the doctor. It's hard.
Mm.
So trust the doctor, give him your all your issues, and he will diagnose and shorten the path for you. I need a website for my company. If I want to sit down and learn how to develop a website, that is a long way, and I will do a lot of mistakes. I will also lose a lot of good tools and tips. I will depend on an expert to develop that for me, advise me. That will shorten the path, and then you can always specialize more in your field. I hope I answered some of your question, and if there's any
No, that
reflex, I would be happy also to discuss. Yeah. Coach
Okay.
that was
Home,
great.
it's
Thank you.
yours.
So,
It's your
so I'm gonna focus on what Muhammad, what you said, Muhammad, where you said, um, at one point the jobs came falling on my lap, and then when I apply, I don't get as much response, right? That was the summary of what you said as it stands
Yes.
right now. So when you said the jobs are falling onto your laps, does that mean somebody is contacting you through LinkedIn, or are you on a mailing list of some recruiters that they're reaching out to you? Which one of the two?
It's the second one. I've not gotten any LinkedIn responses, just recruiters from
Recruiters,
agencies.
okay, yeah. Then you want to know also that when recruiters sometimes they will target you and other people because they will send a blast email based on the keywords. So unless you read in the email that is specifically for you, as in terms of not just a hi Mohammed, because that is now in digital marketing is being
Yeah.
replaceable, right? If you see something that talks into the details that email is just meant for me, then take that as there is something. Why am I saying that? Because there is something that attracted them in
Mm.
your profile at one point. Okay. So I was thinking LinkedIn, so I was telling you at least the LinkedIn profile is working. Right? People are there's something working about it. People are interested. But I get like every day 15 or 10 emails because I'm on like some 20 recruiters mailing list, right? So
Mm,
now, if you tried everything you said, you tried ChatGPT, you tried working with somebody on the resume, you tried templates, and 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 these things don't work. It's worth to take a pause here, okay, and get uh, help one-on-one, right? Why am I saying that? Okay, because even when you get to somebody or we did get work with somebody before, it was temporary. Like for example, somebody will go to an employment center and they work on the resume only,
mhm.
and that person in the employment center will put them in a group of 10 and give them generic advice
Yes.
about the resume, and it's never tailored to them. The other day, because I pick from your name, you're Muslim, and I am too, and we're in Ramadan. The other day I was pondering on the fact, and I want any non-Muslim on the call to excuse us for that example, but I was wondering, looking closely at the fact that I was just sitting there and pondering, is like the companionship between Prophet Muhammad and Sayyidina Abu Bakr when they
Mm,
went on to the journey from uh, Mecca to Al Medina. And I was sitting there looking, as like, what did the Prophet really need a companion, right? They like, he has
mm,
the angels and Allah with him, so why the companion thing? And then it hit me, it's like there's an inherent value in this companionship in the journey, right? So
mm.
for you, you're going your journey alone, and when you're going your journey alone, there's no validation for this journey. So that companionship makes a validation. And the companionship, if you saw in that journey, it was not like, hey, I'll see you off till the beginning of the road,
Yeah.
and thank you so much, go on your own, right? No, even when they went
Mhm,
into the cave, they went together, and all the way they were together until they safely reach where the destination is. So some point when we are done with our means, it's worth taking a companion. I'll give you an example from myself. When we do weight loss, for example, everybody knows how to lose weight. Just eat less and burn more and everybody. But when you ask people, how is it going? It's not going anywhere, right? So when
mm.
I, at one point, wanted to lose a significant amount of weight, I went to a diet doctor, right? Not because that I don't know how to lose. If I check the chat GPT, or that chat GPT wasn't there
Right.
yet, but if I go in, I will know what it is, right? But why am I going there? Because I'm going for the structure. That doctor is going
Mm,
to give me a structure and is going to give me commitments, going to give me watch over my shoulder. And guess what? We used to weigh every 2 weeks. So even if I don't lose because of my health, I'm losing so that I don't wait, because I don't want to
yeah.
look bad when I go meet him after the 2 weeks, right? So that
Yeah.
structure, although it pushes us, whether it's a positive push or a negative push, we still develop the result. And when we get the result, we forget about whether it was a positive push or a negative push. It doesn't matter. I'm happy now. Forget about the past,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
if you're out of your means, raise your hand bravely and say, you know what, I need help, right? It doesn't
Mhm.
discount anything of you. It doesn't take anything. Your degrees are your degrees. Your experience is valuable. Everything from the past till this point is valuable. It does not discount. In fact, when you go interview with employer and they ask you, did you do this, and you say, I didn't do it before, but I did something similar and I learned from scratch, I was able to pull off, I reached out to the resources, I reached out to my network, I was resourceful in solving this issue, you raise in their sight, right? You never diminish.
Mm,
Okay, so that, keep that
mm.
in the back of your head as you go forward, right?
Right. Thank you. Thank you
You're
both.
welcome.
Thank you, all of you. It's great.
You're welcome. Aziza, please go ahead. Please name, role, location, and your question, please.
Sure. Right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So here, I'm Aziza, and I've been, working as a project manager for past about 20 years in IT industry, 16 years as a project manager, and out of job for 1 year. If I have to, briefly explain about myself. So I've tried all different strategies. I've worked with Career Amp, and I'm working a little bit with them as well. And I've been working through trying to get the networking done. I got interviews. I got to the position where I have also been told that I am the top candidate, or I have been selected by the client, and the job goes on hold. It's like 6, 10 interviews, just like that. Recently, I had 2 interviews which happened last month, and in that one of the interview, across the VP, it went to COO, and the CEO is a person who comes in and says that he thinks that I am not, what is the word he used? I'm forgetting the word. I'm not forcing enough, or I'm not aggressive enough. Now, I don't know what he got that perception from, but well, he got that. And there's another one which is still pending, and they said that um, we'll get back to you. Don't have a start date. You are the selected candidate, but we don't have a start date. But at this point in time, I'm at a position like I don't know what's going on with me. I've been doing everything I can. I also finished my AI leadership course so that I've upskilled myself there as well. I've been learning AWS, whatnot, everywhere in YouTube, everywhere, trying to, cater my resume, going with ChatGPT. I mean, just to get the input on what is the gap in my resume, and trying to update my resume. And I'm doing everything I can, applying for the past week. Of course, I was like, Allah, I don't know what's going on with me. I'm going to take a break. So that's all going on with me. So I'm trying to see what is it that I'm probably missing out here.
Okay. Again, I'll ask you some questions maybe to clarify, and then give you some wisdom, and then hopefully also my colleagues can support you. So again, are you applying to big companies or small companies? That's the first
E-
question.
Everything.
Okay,
I'm
that's
looking at
not a good.
LinkedIn, Glassdoor, I mean, everywhere
Okay.
and everything.
Okay. This is the first mistake that I was doing before as well.
Okay.
Like if I apply everywhere, I'm not gonna focus. I'm not going to come strong. So
Okay.
that's not a good approach. You definitely need to focus on 10, 20, 30 companies that you really want to work for, because those companies are really going to have the jobs. First of all, you need to make sure that those companies are having jobs. They can pay you the amount of money that you really need, and they value your experience. Like, when you just mentioned the example of the CEO, again, that feels like it's a small company, it's a one-man show, like it's a decision maker who's just, again, have some specific, kind of strategy or some kind of approach, and that's why you're getting losing time. When you lose time in your life, through interviews, through preparing tons of resumes, tons of applications, you're not going to go anywhere. So getting the focus is how you will get there. Building that list, showing your value that aligns with those companies, selling yourself, putting yourself in front of those companies, is the way that you will do this. I again my one of the people that I work with, he got an offer last week from Amazon, and he is going to start working, 1st of April. It was not easy. Again, the market is tough. I don't want to say, it was just like this. He's brilliant, and he's like any of us. Like, but he did the homework. He focused. He was really focused. He really got, his eyes on, what are the leadership of Amazon, for example, how to really prepare for those questions, how to be the right candidate, to get the job. And this is exactly what you need to do, Aziza, for your journey. Because again, time is passing, and the more time that pass, then we lose confidence. We lose our ability to, be more keen about the job. Sometimes we're becoming more desperate. I posted, last week, about a lady in England, that she changed the banner of LinkedIn, instead of open to work, to desperate. And because she's desperate too, like, she's in England, she's been searching for jobs for some time, and she was not finding a job, and she's definitely under stress, financial stress, like most of us here in this call. So unless, again, you have specific targeting, and again, this could be one of the hidden challenges for you. Um, Definitely, the more I ask you, the more I may get to more challenges. So I highly recommend that you either speak with me, speak with Coach Mo, with Samer, because the more we get into your specific situation, then you will uncover your gaps. This is how it works. I've been in my life when I immigrated to Canada, the first 2 years I was struggling a lot. I had to do Uber customer service and other jobs because I was not knowing the process. I didn't know how to find jobs. I know very good how to do my job, but I never knew how to write resumes. I never knew how to, do interviews and so on. So I'll pause here, and maybe we can take the selfie, and I will let then after the selfie we can ask Coach Mo and Samer to give you more advice, and then we'll go to the other colleagues who raised their hand. Is that okay, everybody? So if you wanna jump into the camera and be visible for the selfie. We normally use that selfie for marketing on LinkedIn, so that everybody knows us and join that community. So when you're ready, I'll say one, two, three, and I want to see a smile camera, and we'll stay on this call for maybe 15, 20 minutes more just to answer questions. So Sam, Mahmoud, please go ahead if you want to have any follow-up.
Yeah. Well, my first thing to share with Aziza is it doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong on your side, right? You could do everything that you've done, and I think your progress so far with interviews, you reached the interview. This is an advanced stage, so kudos for you. I mean, like that's very, very good that you have a stream of interviews. Where I think the gap is, and again, as Ahmed has said, we don't know the sizes or like how easy, because let's say if you undervalue yourself, you could get a lot of interviews because but let's say that the assumption is you're applying to the right place, you're getting interviews. Then it becomes what? It becomes, what am I saying in the interview and how am I connecting on the interview? I have three intentions for the interviews I share with people. Well, the one first intention is to listen for and answer to the needs, concerns, and validations of the interviewing party, right? And basically demonstrating again what's in your resume. And the second intention, which is very important, is hang out, have fun, and come out with the possibility of being friends. That's the second intention. The third intention is to validate that this job fulfills on your career objectives. So I won't talk about the third one because that's inside you, right? And this can easily be validated, right? But number two is what I will ask you. The intention number two is ask you about your interviews. Do you think at the end of the interviews you have worked to be chill, hanging out, and coming out with the possibility of being friends? So, for example, that CEO, if they didn't hire you and the interview would go the way it is, would they be looking at taking a coffee for you with you outside, regardless of the job? That is the level of connection I am saying. Even if you don't match the job, because the jobs is not about getting a job, it's about finding the match. If you and them are a match, it's very much like we said here several times, like relationships and marriage and all this stuff, right? You could see multiple men, but not all men are your match. And so you can go out and see multiple jobs, but not all your jobs are matched. So we're looking, actually, I let people focus on demonstrating the match than I want a job. So would you say that the interviews that you were not successful closing, do you think some sort of connectedness and friendship happened on the call other than the technicalities of the job?
Yes, most of the interviewers, yes, except for that CEO. He was, of course, a person from, I don't know, some Spanish or Dominican Republican, and he has harsh words and all he was using, calling people and all. So I was not comfortable myself with that
Okay.
particular CEO. VP and everyone before them were all nice people and had a good interview. But other than that, all other interviews everybody came out with was a friendly ending there.
Okay, then you're lucky you didn't work for this guy and he didn't want to,
Maybe it was
because you're
Alhamdulillah.
going to probably be miserable working with him. But one other thing that I can tell you to validate more what I'm saying: have you ever tried to record your interviews and listen to yourself after?
Initially, I used to do, but
Uh-huh.
then somebody called out that I probably used to add them into their meeting and people watch that and they're like,
Okay. Okay, you can do it. You can do it using some other tools like, Windows have a snippet, and snippet now is providing videos. You can just do the frame and record it, or you can even open your phone or voice recorder, just voice in and
Mhm.
out, and you be on speaker and they be on speaker, and that's for your purposes, right? Definitely anyone that will, you don't tell them I'm recording, because everybody will freak out. You're gonna sue them if you don't get the job, but just for your personal reference only. Listen to yourselves, and this is for everyone on the call. Listen to yourselves when you speak. You'll be amazed. I do this exercise with my coaches, and I tell them to record, and then I tell them, let's have the analysis of the recording. And before we start analyzing, I said, did you hear your recording? And they're laughing already. And I said, what are you laughing at? I have no clue that I was saying those things on on the call. Like, what is this? I wouldn't hire myself if I said that. I said, there you go, right? So
Yeah.
if you think there is something to be put, let me tell you this story. Michael Jordan, the basketball player, very famous basketball player. One of the reasons he was top of his game, because he was recording his games and he was watching himself playing. Now, there was nothing wrong with your game, with his game, like, nothing wrong with your expertise, right? But he was looking for what? He was looking for what is missing, that if he put in there, he would take his game to the next level. So in listening to yourself, you might find stuff where, how can I up my game? And again, if that doesn't work, like the same advice with Muhammad, a companion, raise your hand and say, you know what, I did what I could, and I exhausted my means. And that's, by the way, for everyone on the call, this is natural human development. We never tend to another person unless we're out of our means. And it goes this with most humans, even if they're religious, not religious, conservative, not religious. They go first inside their body. They're out of their mean. I will go to Ahmed and ask. I'll go to Ahmed. By the way, human beings, they will go Ahmed before they go to God, right? So the last, they will save God for the last, when everybody is done, their friends and their family and all this stuff. Now they raise their hands like, please help me, right? So just keep in mind this one. So whenever our means are done, it takes a brave person to say, I raise their hand and say, listen, come look with me, because I'm lost here, right?
Any other follow-up, Aziza? Samer, do you want to add anything here?
Very quickly, if you don't mind. So, Aziza, when you apply for jobs, you are using your resume, right?
Yes.
And then to get an interview, that means you have already won on like 5,000 other applications. So you have been moved from the 5,000 big pool to maybe 10 people who is going to be admitted for the interview. That is a big win, and it's a big progress. Now, you have decided to take the risk and go for the first interview without proper preparation. And also, you have done well, and you move to the second interview. So now you are maybe part of a three people competing for the job. Taking another risk to go for the second interview without proper preparation is a big risk. Every level or stage of interviews is a different approach, is a different way of presenting yourself. The way you presented yourself to in the first screening call to HR people is different when you meet with the specialized people in IT to present yourself in the interview. And definitely it's totally going to be different when you meet with the CEO. CEO, maybe he's very busy person, he have a lot of projects, he have different specialties, and when you present yourself, it should be a different way, so you can grab his attention and get his approval for progressing. That is something I would like really to encourage you to look at it, so you can prepare better for the interview. Preparing by yourself, you have two ways. Either you learn HR, and that will take you another maybe 5, 6 years, or go through a specialized coach. Specialized coach have seen a lot of questions, a lot of interviews, and they can give you their expertise in a short time. Really, it's a big lose to reach to very high level. Again, I would like to keep you motivated. Sometimes the CEO, he would like to hire his cousin. That's it. We don't, even if we burn our fingers for him, that's it. He will hire that person. Okay. So there is a percentage of bias. Definitely, that's a human being. We are all human being, and there's a percentage, but definitely there's more than 80% of fair treatment. And the people who met you in the first interview, they would like you to succeed. That's why they presented you. When I take a resume and present it to my manager, I would like my manager to tell me, wow, thank you very much, Samer, for presenting this resume to us. They are very good candidates. When you don't perform well, we are not happy. On the opposite, we would like to help you. So definitely sometimes some techniques, after you meet with the interviewer, the first one, they admit you for next one, they ask them, how do I prepare for the next interview? What is the expected tools? Do you have something that I should read before going into the interview? Give me some hints. All these things need to be used and utilized so you can pass the next interview. Keep motivated. You're doing great. Yeah.
Thank
And
you very
at this,
much.
at your level, Aziza, let me add, this is going to be funny. At your level, your bosses will be one of either two styles I call. Okay. Obama style, Trump style. Remember this. Okay, your boss is going to be one of these two styles. So it's up to you to ask questions, detect what the style there is, because you don't want to stay in a job miserable for the next 2-3 years. So right. So ask your questions accordingly as well. They will fall. They will fall, and they will demonstrate who they are. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Uh,
much.
I recommend you, Aziza, to watch the YouTube video recording from last week. And then he shared a lot of wisdom there. I'll put the link on the chat. And again,
Sure,
this is
I
very,
will.
very important for you. Again, there is good companies, there is bad companies, there is good recruiters, bad recruiters, there is good candidates, bad candidates. So definitely, choose what works well for you. I'll have to move
Just
on to.
one question, if I may just here for follow-up. A quick
Okay.
one. So the one for which they said that they have not given me the date, but they have potentially selected me. How do I follow up, or should I follow up with them?
Is it a small company or a big company?
It's a big company, insurance company.
Insurance company. Okay. So again, depending on their process, depending on what's holding that role, um, they might come back to you. The definitely you're right is to follow up with them, ask them, for a date. If let's say this has been a week and they didn't give you a date, it's good to ask for a date. But I'll maybe give this to Samer because he's an expert on follow-ups from an HR point of view. So, Samer, give us your wisdom here. You're the best person to answer this one, maybe.
Thank you, Ahmed. So very quickly, Aziza, taking a decision of follow-up should be taken before attending the previous interview. So when I am going for the first interview, I will decide now, how do I follow up to pass the second interview? Because I have to, like, as a project manager, you should have first goal and B plan and C plan. So you have to get out from this meeting with a win. For me, I will say, when I go for the first interview, my first goal is to impress the attendees, to build a connection with them. And I might, depending on the situation, because there's a lot of variations here. Depending on the situation, I might ask the attendees of the interview, like, I have already visited your LinkedIn before I come to the interview. And I was intending to connect with you, but I thought to take your permission during the first interview if you accept to connect with me. And if they say yes, then they gave you this commitment. Move out of the interview. First thing, connect on LinkedIn and send them a thank message. What you have done now, you have moved from the official communication tool as emails to an official method of communication. And then after a couple of days, you can send a message on LinkedIn that is more friendly for them. And they might tell you, yeah, wait for a couple of more days. If you send an email, HR don't like emails. It's very annoying for them because you are kind of creating a records against them. And you can go later to parliament member and say, look, I have followed up with these people 3-4 times and they are not responding. Oh, not responding? That's not professional. They are getting in trouble. HR don't want to lose their job, huh? So they are also under a big challenge. If they feel that you are putting a pressure on them, they will send you a 2 line saying, thank you, Aziza. we are putting the job on hold. We might contact you if we open it later because they know if they call you again, you will come and they will gain like 2, 3 months by the time. Who knows? Maybe they don't have currently budget or the manager said, hold on this. They cannot share this information with you and they don't want to create a trouble for them by not responding to emails. So yeah, make it always easier for them to help you.
Sure. Yes, Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Maya, sorry, we're keeping you waiting for some long time. So please name, role, location, and your question, please.
No worry. I am Mia, Tampa, Florida. I am a PM with over 10 years. I have worked in diverse industries from automotive, banking, CPG, retail, restaurants. And currently, I jumped on at the half hour point, so you may have covered this, but I jumped on, I believe I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Samir was talking about just resumes. I have two questions regarding that. One is job titles, because I have successfully gotten my resume to a point where it's 2 pages. I do for instance, for each role that I do apply, I am customizing it for that role. What I question from your HR perspective is, how does that look from like titles changing? Because unfortunately, there are the PM role, there's product, project, program, right? And a lot of that, sometimes I can go into conversations and they're like, oh, your product. And I'm like, well, I've done project and programs as well, because I elaborate on that, meaning like there's a product, and under that product, there's a lot of projects and programs that can, kind of funnel within that. And so I have those conversations. But on the resume, as I'm building them out, the titles, and when I use ChatGPT, and are like, let's tighten it up and make this title align with the job. And I just want to know from an HR perspective, do you how does that look to you? Because I do apply for instance, a company there may be 3 or 4 jobs that I apply for, and the title may change. And I don't know if that is going to be a conflict, when someone, or maybe it's the same HR person looking at it. I don't know. And like, okay, on here, she's got product, on here, she's got project. Like, is that an issue? And then also another quick question is, when it says, how did you learn about this role? I sometimes shy away from saying LinkedIn. Don't know if that's a big deal, but does HR like funnel like points of entry differently? Is that an issue? Is that something that you do? Like, you take more LinkedIn resumes versus, I don't know, Indeed. I'm just picking. Like, just how does that come across when it comes into HR?
Summer, do you want to take this? But if you don't mind, I'll just give a quick generic insights, and then I'll pass it on to you. So Mia, right? Mia? Mia?
Yes.
Mia.
Yes.
Sorry, I pronounced your name correct.
You're fine.
Yeah, I want to be, respectful of your name too. So yeah, so your question is very good. It's a little bit generic, it's not something that, Samer or myself or anyone can predict, Again, it depends on the company. Like, the consultant, answer to most questions, it depends, So, it definitely going to need some more research from you to understand how this company operates in order to get a better answer on, if this company can handle multiple applications for the same person for different roles, or they like to have, one role. So again, you've been in Microsoft calls before, they are okay to get you, yeah, to get one resume in the whole portal, but you can apply to multiple roles, but it's the same resume. So it's a tricky, point of view. What I highly recommend for you is definitely speak with people who are working on those companies first. They will need to give you insights on insider information about the hiring process and what those companies value in order for you to be the best candidate. And again, spraying and praying is just again what I shared with Aziza. If you're not focused on a real role that you're really passionate about, and that role is something that you can show a lot of value there, and position yourself, brand yourself to that role, and also sell yourself to that company, then it's going to be hard for you to wear multiple hats. Yes, I know that you've done multiple roles in your career, and you could be a good talent for multiple areas. What I've seen in US and Canada, they like the specificity. Like, who are you really good in at? And like, I need a software developer who's really good in Python, Java, and SQL. So if you have so many other things that are not in that box, then it's nice, but it doesn't help me. I don't want those. I want someone who's really good in Python, Java, and SQL. So this is where, again, reading the job description is going to be be more helpful for you to align to your skills. I'll let Samer add, the HR perspective here. Go ahead, Samer. Sorry if I took longer.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. Very, very good point, definitely. So, Mia, I will jump straight away to your question of when they ask in the job application, how did you know about the job? This is totally statistical question. It's not going to affect your application. It's HR actually trying to understand which way of advertisement is giving them better return, which way of advertisement is giving them an actual job seeker who gets hired. So in the future, they can focus more maybe on job fairs or LinkedIn or Indeed, or maybe posting on their website. Totally statistical. Whatever you answer, it won't affect your application. The second question, when you mentioned about job titles, and I have myself worked in almost 18 countries, and working in different countries is giving me the perspective of interpersonal skills and transferable skills between jobs, regardless of the job title. Job title is mainly affected by the country and even by the company. So you will see some companies naming some jobs in a different way than other companies, even with the countries. People who have maybe, for example, worked for Saudi Arabia in the past, they will definitely notice something. In Canada, we have something called public relation manager. This job is totally related to marketing, communication, event management. It's a public relation manager. But if you are going to apply as a public relation manager to Saudi Arabia, then guess what job you will get there. And people who have been working in Saudi Arabia, they will know public relation manager is the person who is processing visas with the government offices. So it's totally different job. It look like similar title. So we need to be careful for these things. When you move to another company or targeting another company, try to use the title they are using. So your resume will look a very good match for what they are looking for. Other things also we need to consider that HR sometimes is trying to find the best match resume for the job they have. And they might not be very educated and deep knowledge with IT terms. So for an HR person, for example, if they are asking for UI UX designer, so if I find a resume saying website developer, that's confusing. It might look different. So I would love to see in the resume a similar title that the one I'm matching for. That will give me a more safe area when I submit to the manager. So the manager will not say, "Oh, Samer, you don't know much about our industry. This is not the same resume. This is different field." So that is more safe. Definitely change the title in the way that is matching the job that you're applying for. I hope I answered your question. I
Yeah.
see Coach Mo definitely have a wisdom with this.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I would really love to hear from Coach Mo also. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I will talk. I speak to the three positions in one company, right?
Yes.
If you're going to put in, and let's say the system allows, as Ahmed was saying, some
Yes.
systems don't allow, but let's say you have three variations of the resume for three jobs and the same HR department. That's, by the way, regardless of who it is, storing your profile. So if it's Samer or Ahmed or Mo, they will get the same visibility. And we had a recruiter before on one of the companies that said that exactly. When you send me 3 different profiles, you're sending me as if you're sending me 3 different identities. You're confusing me because I don't know which one are you, right? So what I usually recommend is that, especially if it's the cross proximity or the 3 jobs are open on the website the same, pick the one that you're most excited about and apply for this one and try to get the interview with this one. And only when you're inside, even when you get a job, an interview on this one, don't address the other 2 now. Unless they come and tell you in the interview or the result, oh, by the way, we saw that you're more fit as a product manager. Then you say, okay, I get that, and thank you for the feedback. Would that make me eligible for that job, the second job that you had? And then they start taking you into another path. But early on, when you present 3 profiles for 3 jobs, and they'll be like, which one are you? Guess who confused them? You did, right? You had a blank slate, and you wrote on that canvas 3 different pictures. And then they got lost, and they people are trying to reduce risk as much as they can, and they are trying to be as lazy as they want. It's not because they're purposely lazy, but they have tons of other jobs to fill. Like you ask Samer, the HR departments and the number of applications and the number of recruiters, companies are eating up from their department, causing a stress on them, right? So that stress will come out as, hey, listen, I want to reduce my effort and I want to give a 9 to 5. I'm not sitting 6 and 7 to check other resumes. I'll just, any resume that has a red flag or a profile or person that has a red flag, I'll just work by exclusion.
Thank you for that. And just one quick thing, and this is for Ahmed. And making the connection, that's really, I've been successful in that, especially when it comes to the HR person. I normally try to research them as well, because I find that some with tenure has more clout. And so I know that that voice in the room is going to be a little bit stronger. And I have been able to successfully do that. I would like to know, Ahmed, because I am currently now on second. I turned down one role with Amazon because it was not a great fit for me. The pay scale was totally off. And they were trying to move me where I just did not want to go. But I made such a great relationship with the recruiter that I reached out, and she kept me in mind and sent me an email and said, hey, here's another role. And so I would love to know, because you said someone that just went through this process, if they would be open to having a conversation, because I passed all their assessments, and they keep me at the top of the shortlisted, and I'm going into my next rounds, and I just would love to have a chat with someone who went through the process. If
Yeah, sure. Send me a message on LinkedIn, and I'll connect you with him, and hopefully this will help you. But again, Amazon is very clear about their process. You have to create your stories for the leadership skills. If you don't have good stories for the leadership skills, and this is again where you may need to spend more time on putting those stories that make sense, and try again as much as possible to have those real authentic stories, because sometimes we create stories just for the sake of the interview, and unfortunately that doesn't really sound well. So when you share those stories and they are not authentic, then it becomes weak. So how are you preparing yourself? Are you getting some feedback about your stories? Because sometimes you think those stories are good, but when someone else hear those stories, they will give you feedback. No, those are not really authentic. They are not really strong enough to position you. So feel free to again to book a free consultation with me if you would like to go through this together. I'm happy to help you here.
Thank you.
You're
Maya,
welcome.
where
Okay.
in Tampa? Where in Tampa are you from? My sister-in-law is in Arbor Green, north, like Tampa, New
I'm
Tampa.
downtown
Okay,
Tampa.
downtown. Okay,
Yes,
okay, thank
yes.
you.
With all the havoc.
It's beautiful. Downtown is beautiful.
Yes,
Tampa is
yes.
nice. Tampa is nice. Yeah. Okay, Mujahid, sorry for keeping you waiting. Go ahead, unmute yourself, name, role, location, and your question, please.
Thank you very much, Ahmed. And hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Mujahid. I am a project manager and I am from Vancouver, BC. So, first of all, thank you everybody for your wisdom and the coaches specifically and the participants for sharing your stories. Conscious of time, my question is about job search strategies. I know it's a bit of a broad question, but I was wondering if there are any specific tips or advices you would like to share for job search strategies. Are there any specific job boards? Should we use LinkedIn more? Should we go in person more? Um, just some tips on this, please. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So I prepared the slide for this one, for this question, and I'm gonna share this slide just because I don't want to go and speak about all those processes in the job search. So the first thing that you normally need to do is assess yourself and define the role. And again, this is a tricky part because so many people unfortunately fail in this assessment and determining the role, the real role that they can land on or target in their journey before they write any resume. If you don't have this done properly, then everything else will not work, unfortunately. So you definitely need to do this well. Again, the title, the job description, the skills, the experience, the certifications, the salary, the company's list, all those things rely on this area. And then you start to prepare your application. And you see here, network is number 4, and it's huge. Today, job market is really tough. If you're just applying online, you most probably your chances are less than 10%, less than maybe even 5%, to get interviews. And this is the problem because of, again, the challenge that we discussed at the beginning of the call of the market today. So networking is a key that you can leverage in order to tap into hidden jobs, those that are not advertised. Job boards, LinkedIn, Indeed, those are just a tool. You can again leverage the tools. You need to learn those tools. You need to know the filters, how ATS works in order to position your resume well. Interview is a big thing. If you're not really practicing interviews well in the journey, so let's assume you're not getting interviews today, but if you get interview tomorrow, you will panic, you will be stressed because you're not ready. If you're preparing for interview only when you get the interview, you're already late, unfortunately. So those are some of my strategy, again, follow-ups, and preparing for how to negotiate the offer letters in a way that does not lose the offer letter is another way of doing this. But I'll pause here, give a chance to my colleagues, Mahmoud and Samar, to chime in.
Sure, Ahmed, thank you. Mujahid, like just a quick thing or a quick tip. Um, when you wanna network and the role that you want, and try to get also in the industries, follow up on the roles with the industries you would love to contribute to, right? That later on, when you start the networking, it will give a feeling of the person you're network with that you're focused and you have a passion that drives you. One tip that you could do is make a list of 20 to 30 companies you would love to work for, and start targeting these companies, start going on LinkedIn, finding recruiters on these one of these companies, multiple ones, because you know how LinkedIn works. Not everyone you invite is going to accept your invitation. So find 3-4 recruiters and 3-4 prospect hiring managers, okay, who are supposedly going to be your bosses, right? And connect with them. And when they connect with you, right, send the right note. Don't say I'm looking for a job. first. Nobody's going to hire you without knowing you first. So get with the hiring managers. They are experts in the field like you, in your domain. That's how they're going to hire you. So try to strike conversations where you ask questions and you wanna tell them that you want to get their expertise in the market, collaborate together because you're both in the same field. To get to the point where people is like, I like Mujahid. So what do you do, Mujahid? And it's like, oh, I'm doing such and such, and I'm looking for a new challenge and all this stuff. Oh, okay. Well, why don't you apply for us? So it's a pull. They are the one pulling, right? You're not pushing. Like our experience with the market, when we go push on people, they either ghost you or they turn their back and run. And the reason why they do that is not they're trying to be mean. It's just very simple underlying human development aspect, which is I don't know you. Like if you come on this call, for example, to me, and you just met me on this call and tell me, Mahmoud, would you recommend me to that particular job? My answer is I don't know if I would, right? And I would love to, but I don't know if I would at this point, because I don't know if what if I stick my neck out for you and you go swear at the person that I I send you with, so you spoil my relation with them. So there's always this fear, right? We're all humans, we all have these concerns, and we manage by these concerns. So only when I get to know you and let's say I test you out and say, like, you know what, he's a very decent person. Like I personally got a big part or big chunk of who you are when you introduce yourself, right? Right now you're very caring, you're very responsible, you greet everyone, you're responsible with the time. You said something that I don't want to take from people's time, so it says from it's a few sentences that you're caring, you're responsible, and all this stuff. So if I get to know you another 2-3 days or something, I might recommend you. But get out of the get right away, I'm get coming on this call so that you can hook me to that person. Very tough for anyone, right? So I hope I answered the part of at least focusing on 20-30 companies. Make a list of companies that you would love to work for, because that we don't do. We go and see whatever is flying on a job board and apply for, right? It will work to an extent, but try to be specific, try to be focused, try to be something drives you, so people on the other side will see that you're adamant and you're persistent and you're resilient, and they would like to associate with that.
Awesome. Samer, do you have any follow-up here?
Just a quick thing. Definitely, Coach Mo is the best person to speak about networking. I am HR. HR don't network.
The facts.
So
We look at the facts.
yeah, like even when you visit a job fair, you will see on behind the tables, some people are subject matter expert and some people are HR people. You will have a very nice experience talking with a subject matter expert, but when you move to a person who's in HR, it looked like they don't like to network, these HR. So how do we approach them? Yeah, definitely. So you nailed it by talking about networking. Yeah, not my area, definitely.
Mujahid, any follow-ups here from your side?
No, I think that covers all the question basically. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
All right, you're welcome.
Have
You're
a good
welcome.
day.
You're welcome. Fauzi, please go ahead, unmute your name, role, location, and your question, please.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed.
Thank you.
Nice to after many years. Actually, my name is Fawzi Dababi. I'm a project manager and PMP trainer. I'm based in France after a few years in Saudi Arabia, as my Ahmed was my neighbor in Riyadh.
Oh yeah.
Here today just to ask a couple of questions. Mainly, I just to go back to the proposition that made by Ahmed when he talked about telecom industry and then moving to IT. I'm currently in the same situation. I mean, nowadays telecom area is a little bit shaky, and I would like really to move on to other industries. I would say automotive and probably aeronautics and so on. Other industries are a little bit far away. The most appropriate one is the IT, I would say, and then how we can move there. This is the first question. My second question about, as I I started to it's not a side hustle, but it's part of my job today to be a trainer within the company. How can I leverage that opportunity to expand my expertise and then move on to other industries or other areas, probably maybe beginning a small business aside, based on this on this competence and
Got you,
opportunity
Fawzi.
I had.
Got you, Fawzi. Thank you for joining, my friend. Welcome back, and happy to see you again.
Thank you, Ahmed.
After a long time, yes. So
Yes.
I just want to summarize your questions, how to move from telecom to IT. This is the first question. And the second question, how to build a side hustle or, additional income being a trainer, in today's market. Definitely most of us, our salaries are not enough, and most of us, trying to do that. So let me address the first question first, which is again telecom to IT, because I've been there. And I guess again the whole market is now shifting from telecom to IT, So most of the service providers, even Nokia as we know it before, it was a big giant in telecom. Today it's more of an IT service provider than before, because IT is the solution for today's problems in many areas. Telecom is part of the IT now, not like before. Before was, IT was part of telecom, but now it's the other way around, because there is
Yeah.
so many softwares today that can help leverage telecom and telecom, let's say, problems through IT solutions. So for me, what I did, again, I started to look into the jobs first, the IT jobs that I'm going to target on, and then list down the job description gaps that I have. So first thing I did is I got my ITIL certification. That was my first move in IT, from telecom to IT. So that gave me an edge of understanding what's an IT help desk, what's an IT support, what are their terminologies, how do they think, and then accordingly I started to look into other certifications in IT, like again Azure 900, or getting into Scrum and Agile, and those are more IT tools and methodologies than telecom. Telecom, you normally use the waterfall methodology. Unfortunately, nowadays I guess they are more open to Agile and Scrum. So this is where again you start to adapt yourself to the move that you're looking for. And again, this is a very, let's say, I'm not going to say easy move, but it's a traditional move. Moving from telecom to IT is a traditional move nowadays for most people who started in telecom. So this is again my quick insight about this. Again, I don't want to take a lot of time on this more than that, but definitely you need to do more information interviews. You speak to people who move that shift and understand from them more details about your hidden challenge, because again project management is a big standard. It's a big process that PMI has regulated somehow, and put some standards for everybody to apply. But every industry has its own, let's say, recipe of applying those processes or methodologies. Uh, the next question, and again, I'll then move on to my colleagues, is side hustle. Being a trainer is something that most of us need to be doing today. Like, most of us, like I'm in this call as a trainer, Coach Mo is a trainer, Samer is a trainer, everybody here is a trainer somehow. And this is how this industry or this AI period made us all becoming like trainers, because there is so many knowledge out there, but unfortunately not everybody is able to consume the knowledge except on a specific classroom or a specific, let's say, media. Some people can read and learn fast, some people need someone to show them and tell them. So how to position yourself as a trainer? it's a big journey. You need to think about yourself as a business. You need to build your business approach and maybe partner with companies who have freelance trainers. Depending on which subject are you going to train, maybe project management, maybe agile, maybe scrum, I don't know exactly, but there is companies like Axelos or Knowledge Academy and some others who hire freelance trainers depending on their expertise. You definitely need to have some specific certifications for those to be able to deliver the training course. Again, depending on the training course. Again, I'm just speaking generically without knowing the details. If you would like to have a quick discussion with me, you can again book my free consultation. I'll pause here. Coach Mo, go ahead, share your wisdom.
Thank you,
if you will.
Ahmed. Nice to meet you, Fauzi, and it's good to know that you had a connection with Ahmed. I've been in Saudi. I worked also one project in Saudi, coming here from Canada. So I don't know if when you said you're in France and you used to be Saudi, so is that new job that you're going to look for in the IT would take you back to Saudi, or you intend to stay in France? But let me address something. Moving from one field to the other, in my opinion, need to happen not in a radical manner. Okay, what I mean by that, sometimes between this and that is a gap, and we want as human beings to press on a button and everything becomes cool and I switch very smoothly. Sometimes it needs transition, right? Or a intermediary step. So when I see you working on telecom and then you're looking at the IT, between those two there is some jobs in between. It takes some of the telecom and some of the IT. Which are these as example of data analytics, where it's an IT in nature, but where is the data? The data is on the telecom machines and equipment, right? And I'm trying to build or extract data from the machines to see a story for the particular business, all right? Where it comes to when is it going to be maintained, how is it performing, and all this stuff. Internet of Things too, like IoT. It could be it's an IT in nature, but it's plugged onto a particular equipment. So if you wanna consider these as a two-step, I go from telecom to IT/telecom, and then later on I go telecom, I go IT only. So a step from here, A and B. Now this might happen over 2 years, right? But it's a smooth way for me rather than the radical move is like, okay, I cannot penetrate the IT because I have telecom background and I don't have IT. So, okay, now I'm gonna do something that's a combo between telecom and IT. And then the next job, I will drop the telecom and I'll become IT only. صريح يعني very 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 plain IT. I did that myself, and I shared on a particular call before where I was graduate of agriculture, business, and economics, and now I'm a 25 years IT consultant and professional, right? I did that by moving myself from agriculture to agriculture business, and then I dropped the agriculture, and in business I specialized in management information systems, and I went out and took IT course and all the stuff to strengthen my profile as an IT person, and traveled all the way from the US to India to take IT courses over there and put it on my resume to sell myself out as an IT expert. Because if I, in my master's, for example, I did only 8 courses out of 16 in IT, and I don't have any bachelor in IT or computer science or management information system, tough proposition, right? So people would see you also as a manager, but you're managing people and you don't know what they're doing. So I went and added that, and it took me 3 to 4 years to do that transition. Right,
Yeah.
but it's still better than banging my head against the IT side and everybody looking at my resume and saying you don't have a background. We look at your resume, you cannot sell me out on why you'd be in the IT industry, right? So consider that middle gray area between
Yes.
the telecom and the IT. And I suggested for you data analytics, okay, that work off the data of the telecom, right? And by the way, I worked here in in Canada for Rogers. Rogers is one of our big telecom company. In fact, I have a friend of mine here in Canada that actually that area of taking the telecom equipment and monitoring them and looking at their data, he has an entire company running on that. And he's selling to the telecom company these solutions. So I'm talking about something that I've seen before, and the need for such people to be in between technology and IT and telecom. Okay.
Thank you, Ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool, awesome. Let's move on, or unless Samer, if you have any follow-ups, otherwise I can move on to Yazan. Okay, let's move on to Yazan. Yazan, you also have any events for helping startups? Okay, I used to have some events for helping startups, but I don't operate this now because I was spread thin at that time. So I stopped, to be honest, doing those. But again, feel free to reach out to me if you have a specific question about startups, Muhammad, and I'm happy to help you and connect you with some other folks. Sure. Yazan, if you're there, go ahead, ask your question. Otherwise, if anyone else have questions, please go ahead. So guys, we're doing this, every Sunday, 11 o'clock Eastern.
Hello.
Hello, yes, Yazan, go
Yeah,
ahead.
sorry about I'm not
That's okay.
familiar with the
Teams,
team softwares. I am familiar with the
Zoom.
Zoom. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much. So let's go quick. Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone. Thank you for give me a time to introduce myself and the issues that I have faced during my looking for job. I'm Radwan Sharif. I was raised in. That's my name. Is Yazin is my son name is put it in the team. So that's sorry about that. But my name is Radwan Sharif. I was raised in the Middle East, Libya, and I am residing here in Vancouver, in Canada. So I completed my postgraduate studies in mechanical engineering at University of Victoria last year. So I have a solid background in operations. Utilities to units like oil and gas industries, also reliability and maintenance with extensive experience in machinery, health monitoring, and vibration analysis. So I hold also a certificate of machinery vibrations analysis, category 2, and also I have a course with the category 3 as well. I participate in the course. So this is my experience. So one of my questions, I applied for almost 1 year after I defined my resume with someone who has experience. And then as a mechanical engineering, I received a couple of emails, more than 50 applications that I have done so far. I received more than 20 messages. They said, we moved to take another candidate. But recently, just last month, I have 2 interviews. One of them, I didn't do well at it because they needed special software in that one interview. This is my question, because most of the job description, when you find it, my question is not fully match my experience. For example, I find 80% only of the items that put it in the jobs requirement, 80% or 70 sometimes. So that's right. So my question is how to manage that you don't have a full description that you match for your resume. This is one. Another question is, I have an interview in 2 weeks. They paid for my flight. They are going to pay for my flight to meet them face to face. I wanted to prepare for this interview as a mechanical vibration analysis. I wanted to know what I'm gonna do, can I give them a presentation, for example, for my what previous job studies, and maybe it's work with them, because I have a call with them. One of the recruiter, they called me, and it's not recruiter exactly, but they work because it's a small company. It's not big. So they are interested in what I have done as my experience. So that's, if you clear for my question, that's all for me.
Yeah. So Again, we'll cover your question and then Azim, and then we'll end up here because again we're almost an hour above the time. So your first question is about um,
Job description. How to
job
be,
description. Yes.
yeah,
So again, this is if you joined us from the beginning, you will know that I mentioned this a couple of times. If you are you know spraying and praying like you're applying to every job in the market, every role that you have and Indeed and LinkedIn, this is spraying and praying, because you don't really target specific companies. And this unfortunately happens when we're desperate, and I've been doing this myself. But if you're targeting a specific company, you will know exactly what they need from you. How do they hire? How do they value some specific skills and some specific certifications in order for you to be the right hireable employee for them? So
yeah,
again, if you don't do a good research on the company that you're applying for, you will end up with some of those situations where they will ask you some specific skills or experience that they value a lot, but you don't have it. So that's the case with your first question. So my advice to you is to focus on a list, build a list of 20 or 30 companies that you know them somehow, or if you don't know them, then you focus on researching them well, getting to know people within those companies who can maybe tell you exactly how do they hire, how do they value your skills, what gaps do you have currently in order to land a job. So for example,
yeah.
if you ask me about Microsoft, if you don't have the growth mindset, if you don't have the empathy in your behavior and attitude and your experience, then they will not value you, because
But
this is
yeah,
good.
but the job book description is clear that they what are the items. I don't want to look for before they wanted to understand. For example, if I missing, for example, 2 or 3 items from the job description, how can I deal with them?
Yeah,
For,
this
as
is
a
again job description, and again, Samir is an expert HR here. Job descriptions sometimes are vague, because they like to keep it vague. They sometimes lie. The hiring manager doesn't know exactly what they are hiring. Sometimes that happens. So it's a quality problem on the hiring
oh,
manager.
I don't
Or,
know
or,
that.
or yeah, no, again,
Thank you
they
for this point. Really,
yeah.
because yeah, it's sometimes I think it's a magic job description. They need one
No, it's
fully understand
it's
for everything. It's not.
No, it's a
It's
template
not.
again.
Yeah.
Like you're using ChatGPT to do the resume, they are using ChatGPT to build the job description. And sometimes, ChatGPT makes mistakes. Sometimes the hiring manager doesn't review those job description, and sometimes that ends up that some of the main skills or certifications or experience are not listed in the job description. And again, that's why you need to research. We're
I
all
really
human.
appreciate this point. Really, thank you so much. Yeah,
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
yeah,
Happy. So your other question, can you remind me again? I lost my track of
yeah. I
thoughts.
have interview
Yeah, you have interview in
soon.
two
I
weeks,
have I have call
and
interview at the beginning from the people who work in the same field, mechanical vibration, and he like is admire what I have done, and he wanted it's a journal journal what's it called it's the preliminary work is like just level entry level of the position, and they wanted uh, uh, to just to see face to face
Mhm.
to make it. So I was wondering how can I prepare, and I should give them like presentation what I have done and what I have know or something, and they can ask question about it. I'm not sure.
Okay. I'll give you again a few insights here in the few seconds that we have. But again, if you want more discussion, then feel free to book a free consultation with me, and then I'll guide you through this because interview
Okay,
is
sure.
is a big topic. It's a big process. There's so many things that you have to prepare for, and but in a very high level, you should be very confident, and you should be a problem solver. What do I mean by a problem solver? this company is hiring you to solve a specific problem in their team or in their customer or in this process or whatever. So your value is to discover that problem and show that you have solved similar problems like this one before in other companies or other situations. That's how you need to prepare for the interview in a high level. Doing presentation depends on their hiring process. If that's something that they like to do, they will tell you, we want you to do a presentation for us. If their hiring process is just, tell me about yourself, and you speak for 2 3 minutes, and in those 2 3 minutes you need to find ways to connect with them, as Coach Mo mentioned, relationships, and how to build that connection, that they like you, they want to hang out with you after the interview, even if they don't hire you, they still like you as a person. Then that's another skill that you need to build, how to become a good relationship person, building relationships. Because again, you spend more than, let's say, 60% of your time at work, 8 hours a day. This is more than you spend with your family and kids at
That's
home.
true.
So if those people don't like you as a person, you will never get hired. That's as simple as that. So your best way is to become good in networking. Like, again, you're in this call, you're not able to open the camera for some reason, but if I see you in the street, I will not recognize you because I never saw you before. So that's another skill. Your posture, your vibes, your energy, your words that you choose. All those things needs a lot of preparation, and a lot of mocking. Someone who will really give you a decent and honest feedback for you to really land the job.
Yeah, yeah, sorry about I couldn't open the camera because I
That's
just
okay.
found the link. I
That's
catch
fine.
you late.
No worries.
That's
Next
why.
time.
Yeah,
Next
yeah,
week,
yeah,
11 o'clock.
yeah,
Okay. Did I answer your question? Are you good here?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Samer, do you want to add anything here before we end up?
Uh, I think you said it very good. I really advise the gentleman that to sign up with a coach. Going for an interview without proper preparation is like fail to prepare is a preparation for failure. Definitely. And interview is a very, very complicated process. You need to prepare. And since your interview is coming soon, this is a very serious step in toward getting a job offer. And for you to be alone now at this stage to prepare for the interview is a big, big risk. And I will give you a quick hint. Companies don't hire you for your good intentions. They don't hire you for your future ability to do the job. They don't hire you for your expectation of being able to do the job, but they will hire you when you prove to them that you have done similar job in the past. So for experience, you have to show them that you have done similar tasks and the similar job in the past, so you can present yourself as capable to deliver in the future. I have seen many project coordinators who's saying, I can be a project manager, give me a chance. I will not, because I will not take a risk and jeopardize my own job hiring someone who have an intention to be a project manager and he have been project coordinator. We should show the project management skills. Definitely, and I really advise you to sign up with one of the coaches and follow their instructions. This is a very tense time. You need to work very hard during the next few days to prepare yourself for the interview.
Yeah. Ahmed, how can I contact with the booking a free
I'll
session?
put the link again on the chat, if you can see the
Okay.
chat.
Okay.
You can again book a free consultation with me, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you so much,
You're
Samer and
welcome.
Ahmed.
You're welcome.
Really, your advice is helpful for me. I like it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Again, everybody, please stay positive, stay proud. It's a tough market. It's not easy. Please come and ask questions. Don't feel shy. And this is how you will grow. This is how you will learn about your own challenges. And we all learn from each other here. I'm learning from you too, and Samer and Coach Mo as well. So please don't feel shy to share your challenges, this is how you will get to understand how to resolve those challenges. I hope this was useful. Please, share the word if you can. Comment on the LinkedIn post that we'll do after this call, so that this spread the word for the next call on Sunday, 11 o'clock Eastern. I'm doing also a job fair on March 26th. That is free for everybody, noon time. You will find this link in the post that I'm sharing as well, and I've shared it here in the chat. If you want to join it, just please fill the form and join the job fair, March 26th, Wednesday, noon time Eastern. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you, Samer. Thank you, Coach Mo. I know you dropped, but thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.